This week we talk about the housing market with a possible recession on the horizon. Stick around. So we're going to add to the video that I did last week about is now the right time to buy or sell in the real estate market. Right after I put out that video, I was lucky enough to be invited into a Finance of America Zoom meeting with one of their top speakers by our preferred lender, Dan Davis. So in the video, they touched on a lot of the fears looming with a recession on the horizon. But he also explained that there's some bright sides to it, and understanding the data and what history shows, the housing market is probably going to be very sustainable during this and not a crash like everybody's familiar with from 2009. But first we have to understand, why do people think a recession is coming, and why are the top economists saying that? There's a couple main reasons. One is the rising inflation rate. We've all felt it, we know it's out there, and it's hitting our pocketbooks every day. Number two, the Fed is having to increase interest rates to offset inflation. Believe it or not, low unemployment rate is also a precursor for a recession. And one of the main points that everybody's talking about is an inverted 10-year Treasury note. So what they're all saying though, is this recession is most likely not like the Great Recession that is on all of our minds of 2009. We all remember 2009, the housing bubble, the housing market crash. That was created by the housing market. That whole recession was created by the housing market and the subprime loans. Every other recession, going back to the 1960s, there's been 9 total recessions. Every single other recession, the housing market has increased. Home prices have increased during those recessions. So this being a possible recession coming up that is not created by the housing market, we would again be led to believe that the housing market and housing prices are going to continue to rise. That's a good thing for us. We don't want to see our main investments decrease in value, taking away our wealth. So you may think, how is now the right time to buy? Well, as I mentioned in the last video, we'd been given a crystal ball by the Fed when they said that they're going to raise rates almost 6 times in the next year. So we know that the rates right now that we see for mortgage rates, although higher than even a couple months ago, are still historically low, but they're only going to get higher. So now is the right time to lock in lower interest rates. And we know historically that if this recession is more like 8 of the previous 9 recessions, not like the one from 2009, the home values will continue to go up. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm just going to wait for these home prices to drop, a year from now, they may not have dropped. They actually may have increased, which we project that they will. And as I also touched on in the last video, the reasons behind the home prices increasing, especially right now, is the historically low inventory. New homes aren't being built, and we're having a ton of millennials flood the home buying market now. So with that low inventory, the more buyers in the market, it's an issue of supply and demand. There's way more demand than there is supply. So even if interest rates continue to rise, you're still going to have people hungry to get out there, buy that home before their prices keep going up. And we've heard from a number of people saying that they're just going to rent instead of buy right now and wait the recession out and go back into the market after that. And that's totally fine if that's what you want to do. But remembering that home values will most likely continue to rise, and what else will continue to rise will also be rents. We know that rents have been going through the roof. So one way to lock in your rent is to go out and buy a home. Lock in a lower interest rate on your mortgage right now, get a 30-year fixed loan, and you now have a 30-year fixed rent while also gaining wealth and paying yourself back later down the road. Another good thing to note, if you are waiting to purchase a home, is that historically, during recessions, interest rates have fallen. That's good news, and you might think, well, I want to wait, but you have to remember, home values are most likely still going up, so have you actually really gained anything if you lose a point or two on your mortgage, but the home value's gone up a lot. So this all may seem a little scary and nerve-wracking right now, and uncertain with everything that's going on in the world and not knowing if when the recession is going to hit, how long it's going to last. But really, almost every real estate transaction you'll ever do carries with it some nerves. There's always a little bit of uncertainty. But being armed with the best information and having the best historical data to make the best decision for you, and we're here and happy to answer any questions you may have, so feel free to reach out to us. And for sellers, we know you're out there and don't feel left out. I know everybody's just talking about, is it the right time to buy? But we also get asked, is it the right time to sell? And yes, if you're still out there and you're needing to sell your home, it is still a seller's market. It will continue to be a seller's market for the foreseeable future, most likely through 2022. There's still just such a low inventory, there's such a high demand with such a low supply, it's going to be hard to say that it's not a total seller's market. Now, it will back off a little bit with some buyers leaving and being a little scared of what's going on. That's totally fine. It might just level off the field a little bit, but still a seller's market. Bottom line, is it still a great time to buy or sell? And the answer is yes. You just need to be the most well-equipped as you can be when you make the plunge into the market to make the best decision for you. Well, that's it for this week, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.